Letter to Hermione.
It's a picture from Beauty and the Beast.
It's a picture of Emma Watson from Beauty and the Beast. And that's kind of all I have on that.
Yeah, it's a sweet song.
Yeah. Eric, please continue. I have thoughts, but they're very biased and very strange.
Oh my! Well, now I'm interested in the biased thoughts. Like, just taking it at face value, it is what it is. It is a song about at least the way it presents to me, and finding out that there is a real Hermione. Then it's somebody who lost somebody, and now she's with somebody else, and he's saying, I'm not okay with this, but I'm okay with this.
Yeah,
and we had a great time. And I am writing a song that is a nice song. I don't know.
Yeah. So the timing of my listening to this album for the very first time, because when I intentionally listened to Bowie's entire catalog, I didn't go in order. It was just like, I'm interested in that. I want some of that over here. I think I know what that is. I'm going to take that. Mm-hmm. And so towards the end, I think the last ones that I listened to in full were Pinups, this one, and probably Lodger, I think, something around there. And I just happened to listen to this album the very first time, like the day after one of those relationships ended for me, or something close to it. So like, I have this weird, dumb, emotional connection to this song that is like nostalgic and super embarrassing at the same time, where it's like, oh, I'm such an idiot. And that's one of the things about that relationship, I think, for everybody, is there is a little bit of that feeling of like, what the fuck was I thinking?
Well, yeah, and that's why songs like this work. It's because we've all been there. Hopefully, right. You've all been there. It's a pivotal moment in a young person's life to fall head over heels for somebody and then go, "Oh, that didn't work."
Yeah, and oh my God, I'm so glad it didn't work, because
especially crap. Later, you're like, ooh, I met up with her in college, and no.
And not to say like, and not because like I mean, look, we've all been there, and I think that's sort of the feeling that I have now about this track. Like, I guess what I'm trying to say is, when I first listened to it, I was so deep in the feels. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's so true. I totally get it. Yeah. But then like, it's just, we've all been there, hopefully.
Yeah. Not wishing everyone, trauma, but still it's a trauma we all generally share. Most of us share. And
I think it's a trauma that makes us all more complete people, better people, more able to actually feel a more advanced adult version of what it is that we are feeling, that we think we're feeling in the middle of that relationship, but we're really kind of not.
Yeah. Fair. Okay.
And now a word from our sponsors, Single Writers. No, never mind.
I thought we were done with that.
No, I want to be.
We can be.
We'll see. We'll see what happens in the chat on that. So Signet Committee, Eric, what are you thinking?
Oh, I was not expecting a 10-minute song. I'm like, oh, this is still the same song. Okay. Yep. Dude who has loved and lost. Okay, we're getting a theme here. But the song takes some turns multiple times through it, in its tone, in its tempo. I love the lyrics. We let him use our powers now. Now we are strong. I'm like, oh, there's some drugs here.
Yeah. And again, this doesn't go into a weird place at all. Everything's going to be fine.
Right. Healthy This is a healthy relationship with a wizard man. It's fine.
Yeah. When you take somebody who's fascinated by, the Ubermensch philosophy, Nietzsche, and sprinkle some cocaine on that. There's nothing can go wrong.
Yeah, I mean, at the end, this poor guy just wants to live. That's all. Yeah. I do love the way the organ is going berserk at the end, leading up before it gets to that militant dun 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 at the end. Like the organ is he's just going for it. But at the end, it sounds like Bowie's like falling apart.
Yeah.
If this what I don't know what if I don't think he could have gone any further with this song. I don't think he could have sung "Live" one more time.
Right, not without Mick Ronson, by the way. At least he was the guitarist from the next album, which just a view under the hood. Eric has listened to both albums, and I'm bringing that up only because I really feel like this track is like almost the prototype for the entire next album.
Huh. Okay.
Like at least thematically, where it's just like, hey, what if we make everything epic and fucked up?
Yeah, and that is kind of everything. I mean, on Man Who Sold the World, that's yeah. Although Man Who Sold the World sounds more, it sounds more haphazard. It sounds.
There are reasons for that.
Okay, I'm sure that. I'm interested in learning more about that because my take was like, okay, some of this is really interesting, but a lot of it, I'm sorry to invoke your second favorite band, Dan, but a lot of it sounds like Helter Skelter, where it's like we're experimenting with these electric guitars and our different pedals that we can use now and tape effects.
So Charles Manson.
Yeah. The Beach Boys. Okay.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Looking at the people behind the music, see any names there that Rick Wakeman? Are you familiar with Mr. Rick Wakeman?
Oh, the name's familiar.
Yes. That's the band he was in. Yes.
Oh. That's why. Now I get it. So this was because Yes came after. When was Yes was. So this is before Yes.
This is before Yes.
Okay.
This was asking the question, and then someone said yes. There we go. It's also the end of side one, which is sometimes important. I think in this case, closing the album in this way is certainly a statement.
Yeah, definitely.
It's definitely, it gives you stuff to think about as you
as you walk over and flip over that
walk over
vinyl,
pantsless, and here we go.
I guess we are failing.
Yeah. This, and I think this is also like what saves. I don't like the hippie aesthetic at all. And what I find really endearing about Bowie's take on the hippie aesthetic is that he doesn't really like them either. he's kind of like,
no, that starts to click. Yeah. Because it really at the end, he's like, what are we doing? Are we doing anything?
Yeah. It's like, and I think that his take on it was really like, okay, cool. I really like this idea of we're going to do this idealistic thing and everybody's going to understand what that means. And we're all really going to like actually follow through with this. And we're going to like support each other and form these arts collectives and all that stuff. And that, oh my God, it's the dream come true. And then all of a sudden it's just like an aesthetic. And it's like, oh, so we're not doing it. Okay.
Oh, so it's just drugs and sitting around. Okay.
Right. So, you just, okay. I got it. Okay. Got it. Well, let me know when you're ready to peel the roaches off yourself and we can do something. Let's see. Yeah, his frustration. Yep, that's kind of what I said. He condemned capitalists who soured the optimism of the 1960s and highlighted the hypocrisy and intolerance within both counterculture and the establishment. Yep. And anyone who is familiar with the current left movement in America, nothing changes. Did you notice that at the end there was a bolero kind of thing? I don't need to play the clip. Do you want to see the clip? It's been a while.
Let's see the clip. Yeah, let's go for it. Yeah. Yeah.
This clip is 18 minutes and 14 seconds. Eric, how long do you think I listened to this when I discovered it?
I think you made it all the way.
15 minutes.
Oh, okay.
And
That's pretty good.
And I was like, nope. It's like riding the train at Disneyland, or I think, do they let you stay on at Disney World the whole time? Like continuously?
I haven't been there when it's been open because for the last few years they've been working on Tron, so it's been closed. I can't remember. Probably. I don't think I've ever. Yeah, but it's been a long time since I was on the train there.
I don't know how they would manage that, but I think so. At Disneyland, you can stay on the train over and over again, and I've learned that the third time around, it's like, I think I'm done.
That's enough.
This is
I don't need to see that dinosaur again.
This is becoming work now. So yeah, it's got a bolero thing at the end. I don't know what that means. I don't know. I didn't actually make these slides. I did. Anyway, so yeah, we covered that. I think side 2 happens. Janine. A picture of a woman in a smart business suit.
It sure looks like a Janine to me.
It sure does look like a Janine. She's ready to sell us real estate.
Janine. I'll buy it.
So yeah. I don't know. I feel like I might be like blowing over you a little bit. What do you think?
It's a regular song. There's no, I have almost no notes on it. It's just a regular song. And look, there we go. You've got a note. Inspired by George Underwood's former girlfriend.
Yes.
Was her name Janine? It was
Janine.
Oh, okay.
And in some of the stuff I found, George Underwood says something like, "This is a really complicated way for someone to tell me that they don't like my girlfriend." Like, you could have just said something. So I think what I'm coming around to is that this song, and again, it could be dead wrong, but based on the sources I'm looking at, this song is sort of how Bowie felt that he would feel being in that relationship.
Huh.
And I think it's probably something that isn't intended to be super deep. Like, this isn't like a letter to Hermione thing where it's like, I really need this feeling to be put out there. I think it's more just like, I'm working on this album. I need some generative ideas to come up with a song. Why not do this?
Yeah.
You know,
I've got a bouncy little beat here. Why not write about my friend's girlfriend?
I love how he does that to colligate. You can like see the air quotes. He's not fond of this person. Slides continue. Oh yeah, he was 22. That's my note. Also incorporated the Kalimba. We don't need to learn about the Kalimba. Unless, Eric, do you want to learn about the Kalimba?
Do you want me to learn about the Kalimba? Because you've got a link right there.
I mean, if you put it that way. We're gonna. We can actually.
Oh, that's a Kalimba. Okay.
Yeah,
I've seen that.
The Kalimba is an instrument that you find all over Africa, and it has various playing techniques. It has various sounds. Some are small, some are large, some are medium. And
to take the visual part out of it, he is holding what you have probably seen out there in the world as a thumb piano kind of thing.
Anyway. Board with some straps and a bunch of nails, basically.
Yeah, I wanted to keep this in because he actually does explain not just what it is as an instrument, but why it's important.
The sound depends on the size, it depends on the wood, it depends on the times. Now, this is the Kalimba that we play in Uganda. And the Kalimba in Uganda comes from the eastern region, played a lot by the nomadic tribes. These are tribes that graze cattle, and they play the music every day, every night. Music is part of their lifestyle. This is how they live. And when they move from one area to another, they can't take anything with them. They only take their instruments and their music. And through music, that's how they keep their culture alive everywhere they go. So their culture is traced back and back and back and back, many generations, with the songs and the music they play. My technique and approach on the Kalimba is a little bit different. I mix the traditional style and my own style, which I have developed over the years. The style of keeping a very simple melody, and then adding a lot of stuff to that, but you still hear the melody. You still hear it. I'm going to show you that in a minute. So this is my melody. Just that.
I just looked at the time and realized that we should get through this.
Oh, yeah. Why did 4 people downvote that?
What?
That video? There are 4 people that gave that video a thumbs down. Come on, people.
You want to take a guess?
I don't want to know.
I think I know.
It was Janine.
It was her. It's like, I don't like this. But buy my real estate for me. By the way, I don't like this. Next, we have an occasional dream. Guess what? It's another Hermione jam.
Mm-hmm.
Here she comes.
There she is.
I forgot I did that. I don't know. I mean, do you have anything that I know you like the recorder a lot?
Oh, I love the recorder. Does it? Yeah, because it's got Jethro Tull has a few British pastoral sort of songs that they mix in with all of their harder rock, and it has that feeling to it. Does it remind you of Paul's Boodly Boo sort of songs?
Oh, that's a really good question.
Is that kind of like the feeling where it's like, why is he doing this old stuff? Come on.
Sometimes I think there are. I think the places that it's not so much a Boodly Boo thing as it is like a. I don't know how to explain this. There's a part of the hippie media that was happening around. Sorry, the dirty hippie media that was being produced around that time was very presentationally out there. I don't know if that makes sense, or where it's almost like they go like, "Ooh, looky, look how trippy it is," you know. And I get that feeling. I get a little cringy from the time, like that moment,
right?
Where I'm just like, okay, I get it. Stop. That's too much. But I mean, again, he was 22, and
it's like, yeah, I guess that makes sense. It's part of the style at the time. These things, this type of music is happening, but he's doing his own take on it.
I think taking into consideration that this is basically his first album. I mean, we talked about that before. I can forgive a lot of things, but there are a lot of things to forgive that I'm listening to. I'm like, because I know where this goes, I can put up with it.
Okay.
But yeah, I guess there's some boodly. There's a little bit of boodly going on there.
Yeah. Well, mamas and papas type harmonies, maybe.
I think I think what saves me from a lot of it is that I haven't gone down those pathways very much.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly because every time I dip my toe into it, I'm like, ooh, no, thank you. But yeah, I agree that Jethro Tull, he was very good at using flutes and recording.
Yes, he was a great flautist.
I've been waiting to make that joke for like a week. So just as a note, Tony Visconti really enjoyed Letter. He was very proud of the production on Letter Hermione and An Occasional Dream. What I mean was he's still alive.
So two songs about the same lady.
Yeah, well, I think it was more like he's recognized that he was limited in experience and resources, but he was able to take these two songs that really could have been, I mean, let's face it, complete dog shit, and made them, charming.
Okay, yeah, I would take the word charming for both songs. Yeah.
Wild-Eyed Boy from Free Cloud. Now we're getting into some boodly places for me.
All right. I like the orchestration. I really like the orchestration. It works really well with this and makes it it makes it epic. And you've got I don't know what anime or
that's I typed in Wild-Eyed Boy from Free Cloud fan art, and that's what I got.
Oh, okay, great. But yeah, it's a little manga image, but it does have that epic feeling to it because of the orchestration, and he's right there in the middle of things, like going to town with his acoustic. I really like it. I don't know what Free Cloud is. I don't know what this song's about.
I don't think he does. Okay. I'm with you on the orchestration, and I think the video that we watched of Tony Visconti talking about that really helped me this time around get there. Mm-hmm. Because to me, and this is still true to some extent, I have a better appreciation for the instrumentation, and that it's just kind of like, it's needlessly big to be needlessly big, which makes it needfully big, I guess. And it's almost like if someone took like the most half-baked poetry from like a 16-year-old who just watched like Donnie Darko or something, and
is developing these grand illusions.
Right. And they were like, you know what? We're going to put a full orchestra behind this.
And then he kissed the girl from math class.
Yeah. And she touched his wiener, and he's
and he got in his rocket to the moon.
Totally. And then his math teacher had an accident on the way to class.
And all their finals were canceled.
The cafeteria. And his new mom was cool. And
oh, no.
Asher, get out of my brain. So yeah, we got that. So one fun thing I found is, and this is so fitting with a lot of Bowie stuff, as we talked about, Visconti brought in a huge orchestra and
50 piece. It sounds it. Yeah.
Holy
cow. Well, they rehearsed it, of course.
Yeah. And I'm just really impressed that Visconti was like, I see something in this. And I think that's sort of the legacy there with him, is it's just like, okay, I know that's stupid in someone else's hands, but in my hands, this is going to be awesome.
Not Space Oddity. That garbage can go to
right,
hell.
Right. That's the irony of it. But I don't think he's entirely wrong. about at least at that point in time, looking at it and going like, really? So rehearsal started at 10 a.m. and recording was completed in a single take before the session's 1 p.m.
Oh, wow.
Which is very Bowie, because he would be bored. He'd be like, nope.
Puts down the guitar and just leaves.
Done.
Somebody get that.
And then Mick Ronson, who later became a member of Bowie's band Spiders from Mars, contributed guitar and hand claps to the session, marking his first collaboration with Bowie.
And soon he'd be wearing splashy pants.
Very soon. Here's some fan fiction I found for Wild Eyed Boy from Free Cloud. I guess what I'm trying to point out in this moment right now is you need to be prepared for this person, Bowie, is possibly the most neurodivergent musician working at the time. And he develops a fan base. And this fan base,
he finds his people.
They find him. He finds this. I'm not going to read any of this, but this fan fiction is about the Wild-Eyed Boy from Free Cloud getting visited by Jareth from Labyrinth.
Okay.
It's gonna get weird.
Right.
All right. So this slide is really sloppy. So just ready. So we got God Knows I'm Good. I don't know if we need to go into depth there.
Is it a song about a poor lady who tries to steal something and she hopes she's not going to be judged, but then they catch her?
I suspect it's a song about, hey, David, we need about 3 minutes to fit on the album. And he was like, oh, yeah, just something.
Saw this happen yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah. And then he accidentally created a song that Momus could have very easily made in his first album.
Oh, there you go. What's a cash machine in 1969? He references a cash machine.
I'm pretty sure there were cash machines at
ATMs.
that point.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. But here, let's see.
Yeah.
I don't know what your timeline is.
I didn't bother to look it up.
Yeah, that can be
an hour.
Yeah, okay, so here, let's see.
Look
it up. Cash machine.
Maybe it's because I think if it was
no.
Oh no.
Shh.
Back to Free Cloud.
Don't look.
Oh no, the Diamond Dogs.
History of ATM, not the dirty kind.
I'm glad you specified, because with your search history.
I usually use another profile for that stuff.
Dan has, I'm looking at his browser here, and he's got two folders on his favorites bar. One is labeled Nice Things, and the other is Disneyland.
I forget why I labeled that Nice Things. What's in there? Oh, it's just, we got Heel Houses.
Yeah, that makes
sense. That makes sense. Those are all nice things to have. Never before electronic equipment, history. Let's see. Wait, what a weird way to organize your thing. They were activated by plastic or paper tokens that would only activate for the operating bank. Back in the 70s, I had my first ATM card. I also had a can of magnetic developing fluid. My card had a ridiculous density. Diebold, the most trusted brand in elections. Cash point. Okay. When
I don't think we should trust regular people.
First ATM invented. I'm not going to clarify. Let's see what happens. 1967.
Okay.
Use of Barclays and United Kingdom. Another Tory name.
Could be an actual cash machine. Tory name. Lots of Tories in this episode.
I just love making fun of Tories. It's so fun.
I enjoy taking the children down to the cash machine and giving them £1.
I tried sliding one into a cash machine, and they said they would not take it.
Oh, well, I'll turn them into tapes for my mellotrons.
They said, you must grind the children. And I said, oh, of course. Yeah. Let's see. Okay, let's get through that. Boom, boom, boom. So God Knows I'm Good. I think it feels like a total throwaway to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Memory of a Free Festival,
which Dan has named Memory of Dirty Hippies. It's kind of a classic.
I hate this song so much.
I mean, he's playing a harmonium just alone for most of it, but I do like that it ends with a whole bunch of people singing a thing, and they all get together and they're all happy about the concert they once saw. What I want to know is, has anyone ever edited this song to include themselves in it, like a big Bowie fan community thing to include yourselves in the Sun Machine portion?
You mean something that we could possibly do?
That's what I'm insinuating.
I think that someone should.
I don't know why I'm the first person to think of this. Hopefully I'm not.
Let's assume you are, and let's go with it, because I love that. Let's see what the slideshow says. So this is based on an actual festival that Bowie and his landlady, who he was stipping, put together.
Oh, I was gonna say, his landlady. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah, they put together an arts lab, and there was basically all the fuckery behind it is kind of what made Bowie really disillusioned with it. And so this festival happened. He was super grumpy because this was like right after his dad died, and all accounts of him being there were like, he was a fucking dick. He was just cranky. All he cared about was the money about it. And so I suspect that this is sort of his way of communicating to his pals that, like, no, I was into it. I was just, not able to actually be there. But I don't know. Maybe it's just, there are some accounts where it's just like, yeah, he wasn't even actually there. So we also have Mark Boland, Bob Harris, and others in the finale choir of the song, and it was recorded multiple times for mass choir effect. So those of you at home, when you record your part to send in to us, make sure to record yourself multiple times. So overall,
Let's quit the image.
I know it's Ziggy Stardust in an American spacesuit. So the album was a commercial success. It reached number 5 on the UK albums chart, but that doesn't matter to me because I'm an American, and it hit the number 16 on the Billboard 200 chart in the US. Not sure of the timing on that. I suspect that might have been after Ziggy-ish, but who knows? Point is, it did something. You know what? I'm not going to even go into so basically I found a video of Tony Visconti, and since we've discovered that the way Zoom handles video and audio at the same time is troublesome. Basically it's Visconti listening to the track and saying, like, okay, after it was recorded and after it kind of did what it did, I realized that, like, I was completely wrong, and that what David was actually doing was talking about alienation, and yes, there is that cash grabby element of it to an extent, but at that point in his career, he kind of needed that anyway. But as it says on my slides, Bad Tony is coming, and we'll talk about him later. Oh, Bad Tony's very bad.
Oh, no. Hey, Dan, would you like to know what other what albums reached the top of the Billboard charts in the Americas.
Yes.
In the year 1969.
Yeah, give it to me.
So, special runners-up prize to I, Ron Butterfly's In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida, which peaked at number 4, but was the best performing album of the entire year, which is something.
Well, this was, and I have more on this in the next episode's slide deck, but this was a very strange time for music because the hippie shit was kind of, they were all seeing it coming to an end, and eventually it ends in a violent cataclysm at Altamont.
Oh gosh, yeah. But listen to all of the albums though. This illustrates your point very well. So for January into February, Beatles, the White Album. Followed by TCB, Diana Ross and the Supremes and the Temptations. Back to the Beatles.
Yeah. Oh.
Then to Glenn Campbell's Wichita Lineman.
Hell yeah.
Then Blood, Sweat, and Tears by Blood, Sweat, and Tears. Then back to Wichita Lineman. Then back to Blood, Sweat, and Tears. Then for 3 months, Hair.
Oof.
The soundtrack to Hair. Then back to Blood, Sweat, and Tears. Then a month of Johnny Cash at San Quentin.
Yeah, okay, why not?
Then Blind Faith. The single album by Blind Faith, the Cream / Steve Winwood collab.
Oh, wow. I have no idea what that is.
Oh, they only put out one album. It was Clapton and Ginger Baker and Steve Winwood. Little super band there. Then Creedence, Green River. Then Abbey Road by the Beatles for 2 months.
Oh, God.
And we end up the year with Led Zeppelin 2.
What a weird
What a
time.
year.
What a year to be alive. So any final summation? That's a word, sure. Any sort of, before we lock this album up forever?
It's, in a lot of ways, it's a folksy sort of album. You can tell it's a product of the time. There's some interesting experimentation here. There's also some regular whatever songs.
As a first time listener of Bowie album style, do you have any, like, going forward, any concerns, questions, comments, things you're hoping to hear more of, or hoping to hear less of, or anything like that?
I'm worried I'm going to hear less of him on that 12 string, because I really like his acoustic work. But because we get less of that, like the guitars in Ziggy are more electric, more riffy, which works. But yeah, I really like his acoustic style, and yeah.
I wonder if once he got Mick Ronson on board, if he was like, okay, I don't
have to do this anymore.
Yeah. I kind of get that feeling.
Okay.
But we'll see. I think Hunky Dory might be rather hunky dory for you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think overall the re-listen for me was, I mean, all of these are going to be more emotional for me, given that, he's not around anymore, and my feelings about him and his place in the world and in my life. I mean, he is, after all, my father. No, but you know what I mean? Like when you have that connection, one-sided as it is, it's still important. I think Tony Visconti really, anyone who is listening to this, and if you haven't given the reissue a re-listen, or a listen rather, listen, give it a try. Especially there are some tracks that really, really, really super benefit from it, and others, like God Knows I'm Good, where it's just like, what can you do? Like, there's only so much lipstick to put on this pick.
But yeah, like a song that we've all heard so many times, like Space Oddity, sounds so crisp and and rich. I really, really like this remaster.
And he doesn't overdo it either. I think he comes close at times where it's almost like, are you sure? But I feel like he also makes good choices. And considering that he was in the room where it happened, some might say.
Oh.
I love musicals. I think, he was one of the people who would have been doing that in the first place. So I think he's in the right place to do that.
Yeah, he's entitled to give it a little re-listen and make some changes, especially if he felt like he was inexperienced at the beginning, or if he was inexperienced at the beginning. It's just like George Lucas. You're allowed to redo your movies. It's fine.
I'm not going to touch that. So going forward, I promised to talk about Mark Boland a little bit. And the reason I'm doing this kind of stuff is mainly because I don't know about anyone else, but for me as a Baby Bowie fan, I kind of ignored Mark Boland because it was like, the competition. But I think that he deserves to get a little bit of recognition. And when we get to it, Brian Ferry also, again, because at least for me, I thought I'm not going to pay attention to Roxy Music because they were technically the competition, but that was a mistake. So Mark Boland, if Little Richard was Moses and Bowie was Jesus, Boland was John the Baptist in some ways. He was notoriously short and had an almost comical arrogance, according to many accounts, but sort of in a charming Lord Byron, Oscar Wilde sort of way. His voice, Eric, I think you've actually listened to more T-Rex than I have, but how would you describe their sound?
The band's sound is definitely more hard rock in a way for the time. I haven't listened to a ton of T-Rex.
Okay.
I know several songs pretty well, but like several songs have made it into my rotation, but I don't think I've sat down and listened to a full album.
Yeah. His vocals are very high, almost whispered in some ways, and this weird, cool vibrato that he would do with it. And that would got contrasted with the heaviness of the band, Mm-hmm. And we kind of went into his flamboyant style, pushed Bowie pushed him, and Bowie he was more of a nerd about it. So he brought in stuff like Kabuki and Mime, and Boland was like, oh, cool. Okay. Let's borrow some of that maybe. And so, it's really a mutual appreciation society. Here's Mr. David Bowie talking about Mark Boland. You think?
Arrogance is the first word that comes to mind.
David Cassidy. We don't need to get into that. Basically, this is before I figured out that YouTube and Zoom had this issue. They're just kind of. We don't need to get into that. I'm not going to edit this part out. Whatever. Here's Bowie talking about Mark.
Okay.
He said, well, look, I got a way that you can earn a few bucks. He said, I was thinking of having my office done by professional painters. If you take like half the rate that they would charge, he said, you can come up and do my office. So I ended up doing a whitewash job on the walls of his office with another of his clients, Mark Feld. Of course, it's Mark Boland. So there's me and Mark Boland, like striping his wall with whitewash, saying, yeah, well, I'm going to be bigger before you. And it's just looking back on it, it was such a ludicrous situation. It was very funny. Because we knew that it was going to be some time before either of us really took off, we were really close buddies at that time. And it was Mark that introduced me to the idea of running around Carnaby Street and King's Road after the shops had closed to go through the dustbins, because at that time they had shop-soiled shirts and things, and the buttons were missing and whatever, and they just throw them away. I mean, it was sort of excess. And by the end of the night, you could have quite a good wardrobe together for free,
And then here's an interview with Piers Morgan, who is not really Piers Morgan, but it's this guy.
But meanwhile, let's jump the generation gap and greet Mark Boland.
This is Russell Hardy, who I suspect Russell Hardy is going to be a frequent guest on our show because he is such an insufferable piece of shit. And I'm including this just to highlight how obnoxious he is.
I'd like a feedback. If I don't get it, then it's very sad. And if I'm a dustman tomorrow, tough.
Can you finally tell me what your own attitude to say to money is? I mean, you're earning a lot of money, and it's rolling in every day. And presumably, as you've told me already, and as we've already read, you've had some kind of training in poverty. Is your mum watching you?
Of course. She's watching you.
What kind of attitude do you now have to? Are you enjoying it? Do you sort some away?
Money brings problems in as far as the thing with pop stars that people don't understand is that pop stars as such is that they, you work and you do things, but you also employ 15 people to work around you, and the Stones have got 35, and they've never made a tour that made any money. I mean, you don't make an incredible amount of money. You do it because you live your environment. I'm doing this show tonight because I saw you on Sunday when you were having dinner, and it was nice to see you. That's what it's for. Money is, I don't know, I don't think about money. Someone told me the other day that I had a lot of money, and I never buy anything but records and books.
Do you consider yourself to be privileged? Because what you're saying now, what you're uttering now, are the remarks of a privileged person, actually. If you don't consider...
you've got to tell me what a privileged person is.
Well, anybody who can sit back at whatever age you are, which is not all that...
Someone who is doing my job, for example. Someone who's never actually had an actual job and maybe is like interviewing people and cutting them down professionally.
The kind of society we largely live in, and say money doesn't concern me. I buy a car because I need a car, but I don't drive a car, but I have a white rails in the garage, or had. People buy things for me, people look after things for me. Do you not consider that to be a privileged kind of situation?
No one looks after things. You're making it sound very
people look after your business deals.
Well, you must tell me, what do you think a rock and roll star is and should be? That's what the point is, I think. I mean, what is, and what is privilege?
No, I'm not asking you.
I'm asking the questions. He's Piers Morgan. He's like proto Piers Morgan. Anyway, that was just for my amusement, just like this podcast. Is Mark Boland with Elton John on piano and Ringo Starr for all of you parrot heads out there. So anyway, I guess this is the end? This is the end. Yeah. We are recording. I don't have a closing plan. Let's see. Buy war bonds. And don't forget, if you know Iman, to let her know that there's podcasts out there who would very much like to have the rights to her husband's catalog available to them. Where we can hook it up. There's some kind of. I'm sure we could maybe work out some sort of a deal with a hotel near Disneyland. If she has an Instagram, then I think we can make that work. Let's see. God bless.
When I talk, I mess up the audio.
Oh yeah, do that. Here. Anyway.
Wow.
Wow, man. Right.
We will have an Instagram account. Actually, we already do have an Instagram account. Bowiesplaining Pod. We have a website, teenagewildlife.net.
It's the best inside joke ever.
You can email David Bowie at teenagewildlife.net. If you'd like to give us feedback on the show, for instance, tell us what colors we should make the website other than black and white. Because that's what it is right now.
Yeah.
Default WordPress.
And if you dislike what is currently there enough, maybe you'll volunteer to make the website for us.
I'm in.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for listening. We love you. I mean, okay, sure, we love you.
Well, yeah, come on.
Bye-bye.